Hi there, you lovely lot, and welcome to the latest episode of Pat's Procrastination, brought to you by the Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel. Please do not forget to be rating and subscribing to said YouTube channel so that you do not ever miss an episode of the fabulous show, particularly now that it's off season. It was about 3 weeks since we did the last show, and it's probably going to be about 3 to 4 weeks before we do the next, due to it being the kind of downtime. We've had mini camp now. We're waiting for training camp to begin in, as I said, approximately about 3-4 weeks. So, episode 64. I am Claire Clazzy Clare. He is Chudders. Chudders, how are things with you?
Everything's good, thank you. Waiting for things to really ramp up and really loads to report on. But like you say, quiet time now, but there's still plenty to think about, at least, even if there's not a lot to see.
There's still plenty to argue over, I am sure.
Well, we're not very good at arguing. We often agree so much, so that could be tricky.
Anyway, so yeah, there isn't that much to cover. There isn't obviously any breaking news. There isn't a lot to talk about, so we don't want to bore you. So we're just going to bring you a short show this time, as it's the off season. But there's still a few topics, because initially we do have something to worry about, and as I really usually rather prefer to be positive, this could start as a negative, I guess, and maybe we can mold it into a positive. But Wes retired, so we now have one less guard, which isn't great, although that may be paving the way for Caden Wallace taking reps at left guard, so we might be fine. It's another season, another off season where some dude on the O-line decides to nap off from football.
Yeah, they'd rather retire than play for the New England Patriots, having signed a contract months ago.
To be fair, we don't know the significant details. There may be something very family orientated, very medical underlying. We don't really know. I don't have any insider sources on this one, I'm afraid. But yeah, it's just the general of another O-lineman, really. Can we just not get an O-line? It's like all I want for Christmas is an O-line, really. My birthday is in summer. So I should be saying. No, I didn't say the day. I was saying it's in summer. And if you let me finish my sentence, my birthday's in summer, so it feels like all I want for my birthday is a really competent O-line. So that moving into September, the O-line is successful. Actually, that's not all I want. I want lots of things, but still.
Yeah. Begins with tight and ends and end. Yeah.
I want a tight end.
and more. Except not just any tight end. It's always got to just be a Claire tight end.
Yeah. Thank you. Finally. It took us how many years for you to get to that? It's not just any tight end that I want.
Yeah, but the trouble is the Claire tight end class isn't the most blooming, really, is it? That's the trouble.
Shut up.
Just succinct.
Just shut up.
Don't apply reason and logic to this argument. That's not fair.
No, gosh darn it! I will like.
So how worried are you about the O-line then?
It gave me an initial not again sort of thing, because it is a concern, and he is we are losing some veteran experience-y presence and having to turn to rookies or year 2 guys. Not that necessarily makes any difference, because their skill set could be significant. I'm not worried now, because it is still 17th of June, ridiculously early, hopefully before in the day, hopefully before my allergies start to kick my ass. So if I start to sneeze, I apologize, folks. We're trying to do this early so that doesn't happen. But yeah, it's still early in the season, 17th of June. We've got to see what happens in training camp. It's really going to be, if after training camp the O-line is, or when we get to training camp and people are reporting, yeah, it's not great, then I'll start to worry. Initially, it was no, really, and now it's like, okay, let's see how they can sort it out, because I do, maybe naively, as you like to throw at me, have faith in Vrabel. So I'm very watching Forged in Foxborough, very like, oh yeah, let's run through a wall for Vrabel. So I'm all like that now. So I'm not worried yet.
No, I think
it reserve the right to be.
It's fair. After free agency, after the draft, probably the one question mark was always going to be left guard. You kind of
Yeah.
thought we had penciled in the rest of the O line. You could say there's maybe a slight competition at centre still. We'll have to see how that one plays out. But
True.
realistically, the biggest question mark on the O line was left guard. When Wes signed, we didn't necessarily think that was going to be the solution. So it's not like, oh, hang on, now that question mark's got even bigger. It's just one of the options is gone. So now it's okay.
Yeah.
But in fact, like you said, opening at the show, Caden Wallace, who's probably not someone we thought was going to be in that left guard meeting room, now appears to be in it. So you've lost one, you've gained a different one. There, it does appear that they're just going to throw all the different bits of mud at the wall, see which one sticks, and whichever one sticks the best, plays the best, is gonna get the job. It's I think what adds to the concern of it all is that you're also going to have a rookie left tackle on that side. So that's Drake May's blind side. How much confidence are you going to have? If you are an opposing defense, you're going to think, I'm going to send all the bells and whistles at that Patriots left side, and that's where we're going to attack. That's going to be their weakest points.
To be fair, again, you're going to do the whole throw the naivety thing at me, but I'm not worried about Will Campbell. I'm not
saying I'm worried about him. I'm just saying it's going to come under the most stress. If you are opposing defense, that's where you're going to attack. I'm not saying Will Campbell's going to fail every time, but I think he will take some bedding in time, because I'm not saying his technique is wrong or his understanding. He's not intelligent. He's not going to pick things up. But you're a rookie. This is your first time in the NFL where everyone is bigger, everyone is faster, everyone is more switched on than you are. Not because you're stupid, just because most of them will have played NFL for a few years. They know what you're going to do. They've scouted you. Their scouting package is going to be a lot tougher assignments than what you're doing in college. And I appreciate he's come from a good school, that he is well versed in that. But everything is going to be tougher. So as good as you may be, it's going to be more of a challenge. And on top of that, I think he is, or that side, should I say, is the weaker side. That's the one that's going to come under, or should come under, more pressure. If you are a sensible defensive coordinator, that's where you're going to send the toughest assignments. Are going to be coming at him now. If you're coming up against other teams' number one pass rusher, you're going to put them on Campbell's side, not Moses' side. It'll be a challenge. And realistically, he probably isn't going to win 100% of those battles. He just isn't. And that's not throwing shade or saying I don't trust him or have faith in him, but I don't expect snap week one for the rest of his time in a Patriots shirt. He's going to be perfect. He's not. This is going to be his greatest challenge. So to then just inside of him have a potential question mark is going to make that assignment tougher, because it's not like, okay, it's all right. We've got, let's say, Onwenu on that side. That's someone who'll really be able to support him, anchor with him. It's going to be potentially a challenge, and he's going to have to spend a lot of this off season trying it with a lot of different people. He's not going to spend 100% of his reps this off season with that same guy who's going to start week one. It's going to have to be split between 3-4 players potentially. And so you got to hope that relationship come game one is there.
But then you could argue, well, if they utilize Cole Strange, if he's healthy enough and they bring him in, as he's not in that case someone who's sort of like a rookie and has more experience in the organization. And I'm not saying he's going to be amazing, don't get me wrong. I'm just looking at the depth chart and thinking, well, there's another name that we're not sort of throwing into the mix and stuff like that.
No, you're right. I'm
not as worried, I think.
We shall see. They've got options. They're going to throw everything at it, and we'll see what sticks. We as Pats Nation may need to have some patience with this one, which I know is one of your strong points, because it may not be perfect week one. We just need to let it bed in and improve. Hopefully, overall, it's going to be better scheme-wise. It's going to be better production-wise. It's going to be better from the quarterback. So Drake May is going to be able to read things better. We still don't exactly know how the protection is going to be called out. Is that going to be job of the center? Is that going to be on Drake May's shoulders a bit more? There's a lot of, the whole scheme is going to be different because there's a different OC. It's going to be more of a challenge, but that's where we need the patience. It's probably not going to work from day one, week one. We've got to let it play out a bit.
Not that we're telling you how to do things, folks. Not that you're being told.
I might be.
Patience. Fan. Chudders is telling you how to fan, folks.
Yeah.
Take with it what you will. I think that was probably the sort of most, I think, breaking news. That just feels icky. Something that happened that was different from 2 weeks before. I think the other thing that's a talking point that is going to take us from last year up until probably the first game of the season is the wide receiver room and the extent of the wide receiver room and how do they whittle it down. And there was I heard plenty of talk about, maybe Pop Douglas isn't going to he's going to be on the outskirts. And then I read something, I think it was Evan recently, that Douglas is looking like the favoured receiver in minicamp from Drake May. So don't get me wrong, folks. I'm not ready to get rid of Pop Douglas. I was just sort of saying that was the general consensus because the room is sort of quite congested when it comes to bodies, maybe not necessarily so much as skill set. But it was something that the media were mentioning, maybe, Douglas is on the outside because of his skill set and now maybe he's not. So this is going to be one of I think it's a running thing with the Patriots, though, is lots of bodies, not necessarily lots of skill. So who are they going to choose?
Yeah, and you got to add things in like how many of them are going to start week one on the roster?
Yeah.
For example, are they going to? Is Diggs going to be ready? He's obviously appears to be ahead of the schedule that we originally thought when people were skeptical. We're not going to see him till October or something. It looks like he's ahead of that, but how advanced is it? Is it still maybe he's going to need to sit the first few weeks and he gets onto IR? Is there going to be anyone who gets the Foxborough flu? Someone like Chisholm who appears to be having a good camp, but are they confident with that room that they have currently that they necessarily want to make him one of their roster 5, 6 receivers that they're going to keep on the roster? And do they think, well, we think with a year of development behind the scenes, maybe next year that's when he'll really take off? So a bit of Foxborough flu for him. Go on, you got a point here.
Yeah, I have a point because I wanted to quote, because I'm glad that you mentioned him, because he's a bit of a media darling at the moment. A lot of people are like, he's explosive. He's seemingly a natural fit for the McDaniels offense, which is obviously a bonus in his favor. And I quote, Vrabel has been saying that he's a talented player with a certain skill set. So although Vrabel isn't really obviously trashing anybody anyway, a lot of positive feedback from the coach. And it is interesting. It's going to be very interesting come August 26th, how many wide receivers they decide to keep and how many they cut and what happens. I think this is going to be a bit of a debate going forward. Is the wide receiver room? Is who do you like the best for is it 6 positions? Is it 6 spots? Is it 7 spots? Is it 5 spots? It's because you're looking at 3 running backs at the moment, aren't you?
Well, I was just going to say,
this is it. It's there's a lot.
Well, the whole skill positions. How many tight ends are they going to keep? How many running backs to keep? Are they going to have a fullback?
Lampy's been looking quite good, apparently.
This is it.
Utilizing him.
The offensive skill set is going to be interesting. Even quarterback. Are they going to keep 2? Which personally I would be, and I think they will. I kind of hope they will, but I'm assuming it's only going to be 2. There's a chance it could be 3. I don't think Waldridge is really going to do enough. I doubt anyone's really going to pop available that they really want to get onto the roster, but you don't know how things are going to shake out. It's there's a lot of questions going to be answered by the 26th of August. You'd like to think with the games that we played, in pre-season. Probably also the competitive practice with the Vikings. It's going to be. Is it the Vikings, or have I got that wrong? Commanders. Beg your pardon. Yeah, with the Commanders, that it's going to be.
One of us knows what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm useless. Yeah, it's going to shake out one way or the other. I think, for me, those on the bubble of a trade, and when I say a trade, you're not getting much more than a late day 3 pick. But Butte, Bourne, Polk are 3 players that you just feel like they're going to have the greatest challenge. Those 3 are not going to make it to the roster. I can't see those 3, all 3.
All 3? Are you gonna do a sandwich bet on that?
I'm not saying all 3 are off the roster. I'm saying out of those 3, not all 3 of those are going to be on the roster.
Okay.
So I would think Diggs, Williams, Hollins. I think at the moment Douglas are, for me, kind of the 4 locks for this roster. Chisholm, like I said, everything seems to be good, but he is a potential candidate for a Foxborough flu if they think, a bit more. We don't want to lose him, and if we put him through waivers, we probably would. So it could be a Foxborough flu type thing if they want to keep him around. I think Baker's probably gone. He just doesn't seem to be turning things around enough. So yeah, of the 3 that were on there and sort of contributed last year to some extent, Polk, Bourne, Butte, I can't see all 3 of them making it on this year.
I thought you meant all 3, as in those are the hot. You believe all 3 are gone.
I don't believe all 3 are gone, but I think there's a greater chance that all 3 are gone than all 3 make it. Let's put it that way.
Oh, interesting.
And I don't think all 3 will be gone. But I just can't see a world where those 3 all make it with the amount of talent that's already in the room ahead of them, in my opinion. I think you're almost more likely to go, right, we're going with Diggs, Williams, Hollins, Douglas, and Chisholm, and therefore Bourne, Butte, Polk, you've not made it, is a more likely outcome than the 3 of them actually winning that battle. But the other thing, I guess the only asterisk with that is you never know. It might turn out that Diggs' injuries got a lot worse, and maybe Douglas picks up a niggle, he starts on IR as well. So you don't know how things are going to play out. We just have to see.
I think that's it. It's definitely another season of, there's not many, how everyone likes to talk about surprise cuts. I don't think there's many that you could really drop into a candidate for a surprise cut. Yeah, they could still be cut and it would be surprising, but I think there's not many names there that you would say if they were cut, you would be significantly surprised. I mean, maybe like Diggs, that being a cut would be a surprise cut. But I don't think there's many. When you look at that room, surprise cut is small. Maybe Carl Williams, just because they've drafted him recently, he'd be a surprise cut if type thing. I'm not willing this into existence, folks. I'm just discussing the things that usually go on at this time of year. Is who's your surprise cut then? And it's like, well, there aren't really many that kind of fit the bill as surprise, and I wouldn't expect them to cut Diggs or Williams or want them to. So yeah,
I agree. I don't think there will be.
I think
so. Go on.
I think the biggest surprise, really, to be fair, the biggest surprise is who the offense is going to be when we start games. I think that's going to be the biggest surprise is how many of these guys do make it, because it's quite a full offensive room, especially as you said, when you move into running backs as well and tight ends and the fullback. You've got a lot of offensive guys and not that many spots that you want to fill. So yeah, I think that's going to be more the surprise this season, is who actually makes it versus who doesn't.
And even as much as you're saying there, what's the offense actually going to look like? Because we've got quite a strong running back room now. Is that going to be lent on heavily? Or is the idea that because that is strong, the hope is that, they're going to be some 2-back sets, but is that really to be exploiting the running game, or is that because you want to make it look like you're exploiting the running game, but actually you're trying to create some holes for Drake May? So it'll be interesting to see. I have a bit more faith in Josh than I did in AVP in
Yeah.
getting smart, getting clever, using the tools that he has a lot better than we saw last year. So I'm just hoping that offense looks a lot better. You hope that the O-line holds up better than it did through scheme, through skill sets. We'll just have to see. So on the tight end room, is there anything that stood out for you the past few weeks of camp?
Nothing specific at the moment because it's still a little bit early. It's interesting to see if there'll be a third TE spot and who will fill it in regards to Bell, Westover, or Dupree. If they get rid of Bell, if he's not really worked out, or
did you want one, or do you only want one if it's the right fit? Like, how strong are you on that tight end? Do you want Dupree to be in there, or no, he's not really so far lit me up enough that I don't want them doing it just for the sake of a third one.
No, I don't want them doing it just for the sake of it. But if one of these guys is the tight end of the future, then yeah, but it still feels a little bit too early to talk about this and to really sort of hone in on it. Of course, I want 3 TEs, I always do. But the other thing is, looking at the offense as a whole, the one thing I don't want is to sacrifice the offense, as in needing that extra, say, running back, if they cut down to 2 running backs or whatever, or look at sourcing the fullback, if it's going to work in the scheme, by having a third tight end for the sake of it. I don't want that. I've never wanted that anyway. Being a big tight end fan, people make fun of me. Oh, you want 7 tight ends? Yeah, of course. Wow, fabulous. 7 really great tight ends. But I don't
So does Vrabel. Vrabel said he'd happily build a team out of tight ends.
I know, TC and Vrabel, my faves. But no, I don't in seriousness want it as a sacrifice of the team and of the offense, just to say, oh, we've got loads of tight ends. Now, if we can get 7 really good tight ends like Laporta and things like this, then, I'm well in for it. But seriousness, no. I want who's the best. Dupree, I'm interested to see what happens in training camp with him. He's one of the guys who I'm looking at. So let's find his number, because I can't remember what number he has taken. I will be looking at 82 significantly this training camp. So I shall watch that space, and folks come back for that, because we are now having to wrap up on our short little off-season chit-chat that we've got going on. Chudders, is there anything else you want to say to the viewers before we cut out for another 3 to 4 weeks?
Only questions you tell me out for. So no, look forward to coming back with a bit more content, and hopefully some standouts at those positions that we're watching.
Yeah. Well, that's
like I think that's the one phrase I think I said a few weeks ago is I want to see players winning jobs on the O-line, winning jobs in the receiver room, rather than just being the last man standing, or those 3 people have lost the job, so therefore you're the one who gets it. I want to see people winning jobs. Yeah.
Winning, the phrase for the season, let's hope. So that is it for episode 64 of Pat's Procrastination, the off-season chit-chat. We'll be back, as we said, in 3 to 4 weeks. So please keep your eyes on the socials, on patspropaganda.com. And of course, if you are subscribing to the YouTube channel, you'll get notifications anyway. So from him, Chudders, from myself, Claire Clazzy Clare, tune in next time, folks. And as always, go Pats.
LFG.